Folks, you're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. Happy New Year to you. We're going to kick it right in. I got a bombshell I'm going to drop right away on you. The Sacramento Kings will have to trade De'Aaron Fox to win an NBA championship. I repeat, the Sacramento Kings will have to trade De'Aaron Fox if they want to win a championship, and let me tell you why. Or De'Aaron Fox can trade himself back to the Kings and win a championship. But I'm going to break this down, and it's going to be one of the toughest decisions for Monty McClair, NBA Executive of the Year. This is what the numbers say. I've went backwards and forwards on this a long time. And when I look at it, and I look at the Kings, I look at what the Kings are doing, I look at where the Kings are, and I look at their current position. And they brought in, obviously, De'Aaron Fox 2017. There's no doubt about that. And we've been consistently at the formula for about 6 years. And when I look at it and I look at what's going on with the Sacramento Kings and how the numbers are penciling out, folks, I'll tell you, and I'll be upfront, I'll be honest, and I'll tell you upfront and honest, and a lot of you won't agree with me. But I'm going to break this down as NBA GMs would take a look at it and say, with De'Aaron Fox, do we have enough that we can win an NBA championship? And I'll put that on the box and I'll say no. And the reason why you can't win a championship is his numbers are too high. And as you know, as the kids say, he's eating too much. I mean, if you look at the history of NBA point guards, and folks, I went back and took a look and I said, wait a minute, I might be looking in the wrong direction, but I'm not. When I look at the NBA point guards and how much they average, De'Aaron Fox averages 30 points a game. He's eating too much. And here's what's going to be. If you look at Derek Fisher, he's got 5 championship rings. Derek Fisher averaged 8.6 points a game. Okay, these are factual numbers here. Ron Harper, okay, 3-point, you're looking at Ron Harper, 7.4 points a game. Some of these numbers are stunning, folks. And this is what you got to do as a point guard. These are point guard numbers with championship rings. And you got to look at what was that point guard's number, because let's not kid it around. Okay, we're talking about the Sacramento Kings. And there's enough professional basketball experts in Sacramento, from the grassroots to the pros, you name it. There's enough experts who are there. But here's what's going on. And you got Gus, trainer, he knows, Matt Barnes knows, and eventually everybody's going to have to talk about this at some point in time. Because the guys who win the rings, they don't have as much usage. And I'm looking at the Kings lineup. Obviously, I think Keenan Murray's numbers need to go up. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And as long as Fox, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a top 5 player in the NBA. But you need capital. Okay, and I'm going to take you back. Let me take you back in history. And I'm going to tell you this story. And it may make sense to some, may make not sense to others. We had one of the best point guards I had ever seen in the league came along, Jason Williams, white chocolate. Okay, I mean, he could get it in. Okay, he could get it in. He was exciting, reminded me Fox. I mean, you got excitement. Okay, but when you look at that and you go back to in the history, okay, June 27, 2001. The Kings made the trade, pulled the trigger. Same situation. Okay, we went out and got Mike Bibby. Okay, now what's the difference? Okay, Mike Bibby's more of a distributor. Okay, we got to share the wealth to win an NBA championship. And folks, when I put it down to you like this, you can dispute me. You can shoot me as many comments as you want, but the numbers are not going to lie. Let's take a look at Isaiah Thomas. That's a big-time point guard, right? Averaged 19.2 points a game. Okay, there's other members on that roster that have to eat. Okay, because you can't close the show every night. Eventually, you're going to run out of gas. And folks, where am I going? To Monty McClair, the general manager, Sacramento Kings, president operations. He's going to have to make a tough decision. Okay, because if you look at it collectively, this is one of the top 5 players in the league. But I can tell you this, you can't win a championship with him. I'm not sugarcoating it. This is Sacramento, born and raised in San Francisco. For all you hoop fans in the Bay Area, was raised by Merv the Mad Hooper. A lot of you guys know him as Cell Phone Merv. The deal I'm talking about is the best of the best, Kenny Smith. Folks, we watch him on TNT. Kenny Smith's got the chips. But what Kenny Smith did is average 12.8 points a game. All these Rajon Rondo, 9.8 points a game. These guys got chips. And when the guys who got the chips, who are the point guards, Money Mike's got to go what it is. This, I'll tell you what, I won't have many people agree with me. But at the end of the day, here's my position, and it's my opinion. But here's what I do, folks. If my opinion becomes the truth, I've given you the facts before they've actually happened. And that's what we're dealing with right here. I'm going to keep going for you a little bit. Remember Gerald Henderson? Boy, that's a quick little guard, okay? Gerald Henderson only averaged 9.8 points a game. John Paxson. Man, that player could play. You know, John was slick with it, okay? John was the point guard. John averaged 7.2. Let's keep climbing the ladder. Randy Brown. Okay, Randy Brown could get it in. Okay, but when you look at Randy Brown averaging 4.8 points, but he's getting the chips. Sean Livingston. Okay, we all know Sean. Got injured, made a comeback, and Sean did something that a lot of people didn't believe he could do. He came back, he sacrificed, he played for the Warriors. This is, guys, I'm laying it down for you. Okay, these are facts. These are the guys who got the chips. Okay, unless the Kings are going to do something that nobody else has done, and that's have a 30-point guard average over 30 points a game and win a chip, it ain't going to happen. And you're getting it right here. This is the Money Mike's syndicated radio podcast. And folks, we give it to you in the secret truth right now, because winning a championship is what the Kings owner is trying to do. And I mean, he's pouring it in, okay? I mean, you got to look. Ronnie Diva's pouring it in. I mean, he's giving you the light in the sky. He's giving you everything you can give first quality. And when he bought the team, he made this commitment. And he's been at it for a long time. And all Money Mike is doing is saying, hey, you know what? Let's look at the landscape. Let's look at the architecture. And let's see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then I'm nailing it right on the head. And we got enough basketball experts in the Sacramento area, in the Bay Area, from the agents to the players to the coaches. You know, and when you talk about coaches, you know, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors coach, okay? Steve Kerr, they got him in that bunch, okay? Steve Kerr averaged 6.2 a game. Folks, this is not stuff I'm making up, okay? But Kerr's got 5 chips, okay? And I'm telling D Fox, if you want to get the chips, you're going to have to take a seat back. Now, Sacramento, that's a different place, because I go back to the Cowbells. But what I'm talking about here is they're going to have to change it up. You know, everything that they're doing now is not going to win an NBA championship. The deck is too stacked. I mean, you have to look at it collectively and say, how stacked is the deck? The deck is super stacked for the Kings to win an NBA championship. And I'm not going to kid you. You know, I mean, I just got to call it as I see it. And, you know, a lot of people, you won't agree with me. But this is what I'm saying. We got to play basketball. And the basketball's not going to lie. Okay? And that's something that I believe in. And you just got to say to yourself, whoa. Because if the Kings think they're going to get past the Timberwolves, you got the Thunder, you got the Nuggets, you got the Clippers, you got the Pelicans. Man, that's going to be a tall order with that roster the way you have it now. And Mike Woodson, man, I feel for you. Because I know the crowd wants it to push. But, man, and he knows, the coach of the Sacramento Kings, with this formula you're putting on the floor, you cannot win an NBA championship. And, folks, I'm not trying to kid you. You know, and you go all the way back. I mean, the good ones know. And here's where Monty McClair, this is a tough time for you, but you're going to have to pull the trigger one way or the other. I'm going to give you a solution in a minute, but I'm telling you every reason and challenges why the Kings cannot win an NBA championship sitting there, okay, today with De'Aaron Fox. It's not going to happen. I mean, there's no way that's going to happen. It's not even possible for him to do that with the amount of usage he has. Okay? So here's the most important thing I'm going to tell you right now is the Kings are going to have to come in another direction. They're going to have to make a change. And the only other thing I can tell you, the Kings, that really just disappointed me, Sacramento, that E40 situation, that we don't need that. Everybody in the Bay Area know E40 an icon. If E40 come back to the arena, let's give E40 some extra security because we don't do that. That's our guy. That's what we do. Okay, and we got to make sure each and every time that, when 40 wants to come back to Sacramento, give him royalty. Okay, he's been in 40, you knocked it out with the front row. That's my kind of game, because when Money Mike go to the game, those of you, we don't sit upstairs. We either going to be behind the credential or we going to be in the front row at the court side. And Big P, you know that. That's my big boy, Big Paul Nunn. So back to what I got here. This one's going to get even more interesting because, folks, if you look at the good ones, Red Auerbach, history of the NBA, Jerry West, keep it going. You got Greg Popovich, okay? All three of them knew one thing and one thing for sure. You had to have an NBA point guard that can get the distribution around to get everyone better, okay? Now, can that be changed? Yes. But you know what? De'Aaron Fox is the best in the league. He's going to have to change that himself, okay? Because what De'Aaron Fox can do, he can trade himself back to himself. Understand what I'm saying here, folks. This is the kind of player that is an all-star. This is the kind of player that's top 5 in the league. And he's got to understand, man, my usage is too high. And if your usage is too high, you got to get the other guys in there and you got to increase their numbers, okay? You have to sacrifice your numbers. And I already told you, folks, I laid that out, whether you agree with me or not. Julius Erving is the best to ever play the game. And one thing Julius Erving did, okay, for those who know the hoop and know hoop very well, he went to the Philadelphia 76ers, and he sacrificed, okay? Because when you got Moses Malone, Caldwell Jones, Bobby Jones, Maurice Cheeks, George McGinnis, World Be Free, Doc understood one thing. There ain't but one basketball, okay? And we got all these cats on the roster, okay? Even a couple more cats I didn't name. De'Aaron Fox, you got a lot of cats on the roster. Man, you got to let these guys eat. And if you let them eat, if you take that 30 points down to about 19, 20 points and share the wealth, man, I tell you this, the Kings can get in it. But if he doesn't do that, then at the value he is today, the Kings can go out and get the capital, and when I say the capital, I mean the players, that they need to win an NBA championship. And this is nothing new. The only thing happened when we traded Jace Williams away and Mike Bibby came in. Of course, we know the NBA and officials and all that went down there, and that wasn't good, okay? Then we don't even want to bring that trauma back up. But we're going to keep it 100 here at the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We'll give you the secret truth. We always believe in giving you the uncut truth, or we'll take you behind the scenes. So we're going to soft pedal this and call it just behind the scenes, okay? Because, Monty, you got a tough decision. And if you want to bring the owner who has sacrificed, given everything in Sacramento that he can, an NBA championship, your toughest decision, Monty, is going to be whether or not you can pull the trigger on De'Aaron Fox. And this is hoop, folks. You're getting into it right now behind the scenes, all right? And this is the reality. And the Kings are who they are. And that's why the struggle is happening. We got to bring that usage down, Fox. And you'll hear me. Your people will hear me. And let's get them rolling, man. Because if your usage comes down, I guarantee their percentage usage will go up so high, this is going to become real easy for you. Okay, so you're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. What we do is what we do. We're going to drop a bombshell starting off here, 2024. But hey, you know what? Somebody's got to do it. And I always appreciate your comments. And when you're done, go ahead and click subscribe. And we're going to rise higher and higher, folks. We're reaching milestones, but we all know God is in control. And we understand all things are possible to those who believe. So we just saying, as you go through 2024, we want you to work hard. We want you to do your best. We want you to believe in yourself, and the final thing, never give up. And all things are possible to those who believe. We'll see you soon. This is the Money Mike's Syndicated Radio Podcast.